is a passionate child psychologist, counseling psychologist, internationally certified parenting coach, career strategist, DMIT expert, and special needs education specialist. With her experience of working with parents, educators, and children, she is dedicated to transforming the way families approach parenting. As the founder of Parenting with Presence, Richa is on a mission to help 1 lakh parents foster deep connections with their children using mindful and conscious parenting techniques. Her book, The Art of Behavioural Management in Children, is a practical guide to understanding and responding to children's behaviors with empathy and mindfulness. Instead of relying on control based discipline, this book offers science backed strategies to manage tantrums, defiance, and emotional outbursts while strengthening the parent child bond. At its heart, this book isn't just about shaping children's behavior, it's about transforming the way we parent. With this, I call upon author Richa to take over the platform.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. And oh my God, wow, what a power packed event. So I literally had goosebumps listening to all the ladies out here. More power to you. Amazing listening to each one of you. And I am now sure that I'm grabbing a copy of everyone. Uh, so okay, before the event, I had a lot of things planned that I'll say this, I'll say that, I'll do this. And then just before the event started, I received my package. So I received my copy, and now I'm totally emotional and very overwhelmed, keeping it in my hand, because I never thought in my wildest dream that I'll be writing a book, forget about launching a book on Women's Day. So yeah, that's like something that I've never thought of. So it's a crazy dream that's come to reality. And before I start, I wish all the ladies out here a very happy Women's Day. Right. So, okay, the launch of this book, The Art of Behavioral Management in Children, and that's the name of my book. It feels very surreal to say the least. This book is not just a collection of parenting strategies, but everything that my journey is about. The lessons that I have learned as a parent, as a child psychologist, and as a coach working with so many families, so many children. Like many of you, I also stepped into parenting with a dream of raising very happy, well adjusted, resilient, smart kids. I have this dreamy picture that my children will be like this, my children will be like that. They listen to me, they'll understand what I'm trying to tell them. And I don't know what even I was thinking, but I knew I'll not be like this, I'll not be like that, I'll not parent them like I was parented, or I had a lot of other things in my mind until reality hit. And that's when I realized, oh my God, it's all screwed up. Nobody told me it'll be that difficult. And my children, in their pure innocence, which they have, the best thing I think they did for me was to held up a mirror against me, um, in which I could see my own triggers, all my unresolved emotions, my traumas, and every parenting pattern that I had unknowingly inherited from my parents. All that conditioning that we talk about. And I was dumbstruck. They challenged me, not with defiance. Okay, let's agree there was defiance, a lot of it, but with their need to connect, with their emotions, which was too big for their so little bodies to handle, that they didn't know what to do about it. And their unspoken words, which showed up in a lot of tantrums at a lot of places, be it malls, roads, parks, everywhere. And so, in my desperate attempt and my desperate need to make it all right, to change the pattern, to break the cycle, I began to learn. And I'll say more than learning, I began to unlearn. I started unlearning a lot of patterns. I started unlearning a lot of things that I inherited without even knowing that I was doing them. So, and I realized that the behavior, it's not, and while I was doing that, I shifted from control to connection, and from reaction to response, which I think was the best thing that happened. It did take a lot of time for me, and I'm still a work in progress. And I realized that all these behaviors, they are not something that needs to be managed, right? And our children are not something that needs to be fixed or some project, that we have taken up, and now we are in a race to prove ourselves and show the world that we have done the best project, we have taken care of everything, and so that we have the best outcome that's possible. They're definitely not our trophies. So and that realization actually hit home. And it's then I realized that, all these behaviors, they are actually a language that need to be understood. So our children, they are not difficult, they are not being manipulative at all. And they are definitely not doing it to make our life a hell, though it does become hell when they do it, but they are not doing it to make our life a hell. What they're trying to do is they're just trying to communicate, right? They need us to understand before we correct them. They need us to connect with them before we go ahead and discipline them. And trust me when I say this, uh, starting my learning journey was actually the best decision I could have ever made. Because I remember during COVID, like Jyoti said, we were home confined, and I was working from home at that time, and there was people were fired from their jobs, and there was this, zeal of proving yourself to your manager so that your job is safe first, and you still, you tell your manager that you are an asset to the firm. So in all that race, my child was 3 years old, and he came to me running. He wanted to show me something, and I shouted and I yelled and I like a for lack of better words, like you know I did that, and I just saw him, crying, and all his eyes welled up with such big tears, and he was so heartbroken in that moment. Thank God that I had a psychology background, and all those things that I learned, they came rushing to me, and I realized that what did I just do? What did I just do? I just broke the spirit of a 3-year-old who wanted to show me something because he was excited, because I am the person he would want to show it to. And, or everything, my learning and learning journey started from there. So, and this book was born from that realization. It is for every parent who has ever felt exhausted. They have second guessed themselves like I used to do, or wondered if they are doing it right, or are they good enough. It is for every caregiver who's trying to navigate those endless tantrums, and they can erupt anywhere. I'm sure you all are aware. All those defiance, the emotional outburst while they are balancing their work, their life, and not to forget the endless pile of laundry that we have, right? So it's for all the educators, for grandparents, and for anyone who wants to interact with children, who wants to raise them in a way that they are confident, they are empathetic, and they are resilient. Now, what makes this book so special? So the first and foremost thing is it's not a rule book. And let me be very honest, I hate rules. I hate them. I've hated them since my childhood. So it's not a rule book. It's not filled with do's and don'ts, no gyan. It is a guide that helps you understand your child's behavior at its core, right? So every behavior is a communication. Every behavior is actually trying to tell you something. So this book actually helps you understand the behavior at its core, and it gives you some tools and some strategies to foster that cooperation, that emotional intelligence, and that trust. And trust me, it is based on everything that I've been following up with my children and a lot of other children that I meet during the sessions. And all this without yelling, without threatening, and without punishing. And it's a different feeling altogether when you are able to manage your children without all of these, because then there's no guilt attached, and so you can sleep with a peaceful mind and a heart during night. And I'm sure a lot of mothers will agree here. So the strategies in this book are not they are not quick fixes. Everyone has told in this session who this book is for, and I'll tell you whom my book is not for. Anyone who's looking for a quick fix, this book is absolutely not for them. because parenting is not a quick fix. We know, right? Whether we have teens, we have toddlers, we are still learning and we'll keep learning. So, anyone who's looking for a long term transformation, this book is definitely for them. And like I said, let's be honest, parenting is messy. We've been trying to, I mean, I have been trying to figure out from last 8 years since I became the parent first, and I've still not figured it out. And I don't think anyone has. All we can do is try, and that's what's important. So, there will be days when you will read all those good books, follow all the right advices, and you will still find yourself bribing your child, with that little chocolate so that they wear their shoes on time because you are getting late. And that's okay. I've been there. We all have been there. Because I truly believe that parenting is not about perfection, but about presence. It's about showing up even on those tough days when you want to kill each other, or don't want to even look at your child, and you feel like, oh my god, is this really my child? Even on those days, it's all about showing up. Even when we make mistakes and we choose correction over connection, even on those days, it's all about showing up, being there, being present. So I really hope, as anyone who reads this book and turn the pages of this book, I hope that you will find the reassurance, the hope, and a whole lot of a new perspective to the classical or the traditional conditioning that we have been raised with. And I also hope that this book makes your parenting journey a little lighter, your home a little calmer, and your relationship with your child a whole lot of stronger. Before we wrap up, before I wrap up specifically, I would like to thank Manish sir. This book would not have been a reality without him, and that like goes without saying. He's one mentor who will give you everything on a platter. ठीक है सजा के ऐसे platter पर. Now the only thing you need to do is use your hands to put it in your mouth. And that was something I was not doing. So yeah, shame on me. But yeah, so one mentor that I mean, I'm yet to meet a more selfless mentor than him. So thank you so much, Manish sir. You have brought my this was not even my dream, so you brought it to reality. I can't be more grateful. And to all the parents, I will say thank you for showing up for your children. And as they say at the end of the day, none of our children need perfect parents. It's a myth. No such thing exists. There are no perfect parents. They just need parents who are present. So, let's strive to be present for our children. Give them the childhood that would they would love to brag about with their friends, with their with our extended families, or with anyone they meet. And that would be a win for all the parents, for all of us. One day at a time, one mindful interaction, one mindful act at a time. So that's the only request that I have from all the parents. And before I wrap up, I wish everyone a very happy reading and a very happy parenting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, author Richa. What I could gather from all the things that you have spoken about, I have read it somewhere when I was doing my MS in counseling and psychotherapy. There was a book on parenting, and उसमें एक बहुत ही खूबसूरत सी बात लिखी हुई थी कि आपको अगर अच्छा माता पिता बनना है या अच्छा केयर गिवर बनना है, तो बच्चे के पीछे चलना सीखिए, बच्चे के आगे नहीं। और समय के साथ बच्चे के साथ चलना सीखिए। पीछे से साथ आइए, लेकिन आगे की होड़पन में कभी मत आइए। So thank you for bringing it out. Thank you for penning it down for all of us. And with this, we are deep parenting. Dedicate your book to all the parents, caregivers, educator, grandparents who feel that they are getting drained out, they are getting exhausted, they are not able to handle the tantrums, the defiance, the emotional outbursts. This book is not a handbook, not a quick fix, but an art of behavioral management. So do grab the copy and read it out. Thank you, author Richa.